The end of Parshat Shmot, we hear of Moshe's bitter complaint to HaKadosh Baruch Hu after he's attacked by the leaders of the Jewish people over the failure to take the Jews out of Egypt and the intensification of the slavery. Hashem responds and he says, "Now you'll see what I'll do to Paro." What we're expecting, therefore, in Parshat Ve'era is that Hashem is going to take out the heavy ammunition, the makot, and finally free the Jews. Instead of this, Hashem sends Moshe back to the Jewish people and to Paro to try to convince them to leave, to be allowed to leave. This is surprising. Paro already said no. The Jews were already disappointed. I think the explanation is very simple and very important. The Jews cannot be taken out of Egypt until they have the faith to stand in, show faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, demand their freedom, and be makriv the Korban Pesach, which was an action that took a tremendous amount of faith. In order for Makat Bechorot to happen, Korban Pesach needs to happen. In order for that to happen, the Jews need to be ready. They could have left right away. If you look at the end of Parshat Shmot, Hashem already told Moshe to tell Paro about the Bechor ultimatum, but the Jews were not ready. Moshe is sent to the Jewish people in the beginning of Parshat Ve'era to inspire them. And the method includes the Arba Lashonot of Geula that we're so familiar with, V'hotzeti, V'hitzalti, etc. The first interesting thing about these Lashonot is that they're formulated in past tense. V'hotzeti, V'hitzalti, V'ga'alti, V'lakachti, not V'otzi, V'atzil. One wonders why. I think we can get a better understanding of all this by looking at the first two words God uses to Moshe, the last two words he uses, and the first two words he says Moshe should tell the Jewish people. Ani Hashem. And Hashem clarifies that the Avot were not familiar with this midah. This is the key message, the motif that I want you to tell Bnei Yisrael. And Rashi and others ask, what do you mean the Avot were not familiar? We find many times that Hashem spoke to the Avot using Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Rashi explains, the Avot did not get a chance to see Hashem fulfill his promises. And the question is, how does Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, this Shem Hashem, imply that? The Torah explains that the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is a combination of Haya, Hove, V'yiyeh. It's the name that signifies God's eternal presence and nature. Or as we say in the first of the Yud Gimel Ikarim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Asa, Ose, V'yase, L'chol HaMa'asim. God is the constant in the world. What is the significance of this? The significance of this is that from God's perspective, the future is already here in our past. The question is whether we can use past experiences to have enough confidence in the future. This explains the Smak, who claims that the mitzvah of Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzeiticha Me'eretz Mitzrayim is not just to believe in what God did in the past, but to believe in how Hashem will redeem us in the future. This is how God tries to inspire the Jewish people to see our future because of our past. The Avot did not have a past to build off of, but the Jews leaving Egypt did, and so do we. Unfortunately, the Jews were not yet ready to hear this. As the Torah says, V'lo shamu el Moshe mikotze ruach u'me'avodah kasha. We understand why the difficult work made it hard for them to hear. But what does kotze ruach mean? Rashi says sometimes people are short-spirited. They can't use their past to believe in their future. The Meshech Chochmah adds a beautiful idea to this and says, God was giving them a long-term promise, taking them out of Egypt and getting to Eretz Yisrael and building their own country there. It was too far off in the distance for people to identify with. Jews, in order to be inspired, need to use their past to believe in the long-distance future. Or as we say in Shir HaMalot, Higdil Hashem lasot imanu hayinu smechim, the mitzvah that David explains, even before the Geula comes, we're already happy because we use our past to know what's coming. Baruch Hashem, we live in a time where we're experiencing the beginnings of this Geula. Let's look back at Tanakh and see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's miracles and Yeshuot of the Jewish people, and how he builds us in Israel to be confident about the continuation of this process. Ani Hashem, use God's eternal presence to believe in our eternal promises.